The first thing I spotted through the peephole was a badge. The second was the lineup of 3 squad cars clogging my quiet cul-de-sac, arranged like they were gearing up to take down a cartel, instead of a guy whose wildest crime is alphabetizing his spice rack. I eased the door open. 2 officers stood on my front step, hands hovering near their holsters, just eyes sweeping past me like they expected a hostage to wander into view. "Sir," the taller one said, "step outside, please." Behind them, half the neighborhood had formed a gawking semicircle. Front and center, already holding her phone up like a live streamer catching a scandal, was Lana Murdoch, HOA, president of Foxwood Bluffs Visor, wearing the expression of someone whose prayers for drama had been personally answered. "There he is," Lana crowed. "That's him. He threatened me and runs an illegal business out of his garage." The officer lifted a hand. "Ma'am, we'll speak to you in a moment." I blinked, pulse spiking. What exactly am I being accused of? "Multiple reports," he said. "Possible illegal weapons. Threats toward a neighbor. We need you outside while we clear the scene." "Illegal what?" I started. Before I got more than a syllable out, another voice drifted from the hallway behind me. "Ryan, who's at the door?" Boots on hardwood, the rip of Velcro, the faint clink of a duty belt. A moment later, Sergeant Alina Ortiz of the Birch Ridge Police Department, also known as my wife, stepped into view, still in full patrol uniform. Nameplate gleaming, radio murmuring at her shoulder. She took one look at the row of cruisers, then at the officers on our porch. "Morning, Keller," she said dryly. "Lou." Both officers froze like someone had hit pause. "Sergeant Ortiz," Keller said. Lou's eyes ping-ponged between her, me, and his clipboard. "Wait, this is your house?" Alina folded her arms and looked past them to where Lana stood, suddenly shrinking. "Yeah," she said. "And you're pointing my guys at my front door because the HOA has hurt feelings." For once, I wasn't the nervous one. The cops looked rattled. Until Foxwood Bluffs decided I was a threat, I had been aggressively unremarkable. Mid-30s systems engineer, quiet, paid the mortgage on time. Lawn kept slightly better than mediocre, but slightly worse than obsessive. My wild Friday nights consisted of trying a new rib rub and watching documentaries about bridge collapses. Alina and I bought our Foxwood Bluffs house for 3 reasons. Short commute for both of us, good schools for hypothetical future kids, and a long driveway where I could tinker with my old pickup without blocking the street. Foxwood Bluffs on paper was the type of upscale covenant-protected community realtors gush about. In reality, it was Lana Murdoch's fiefdom. Lana became HOA president the way some folks catch a virus suddenly, aggressively, and everyone else had to deal with the symptoms. Early 50s, eternally caffeinated, she treated the bylaws like scripture and believed she alone guarded community standards. Her hobbies included printing and laminating rules no one had read, zooming in on trash cans left out 5 minutes late, and starting sentences with as president of the board. The first time she came for me, it was about my garage. I had left the door open while working on my truck. Tools organized. A small rolling chest, 2 shelves with neatly labeled bins. Lana materialized in the driveway like she'd teleported. "You cannot run a commercial auto shop out of your home," she declared, pointing at my ratchets as though she'd uncovered a bomb factory. "I'm not," I said. "It's my personal truck," she jabbed a finger. "Per section 6.3, visible tools and equipment of a commercial nature, per our deed," I replied calmly. "I'm zoned residential and fully compliant." I slid the garage door halfway down just to end the nonsense. I told Alina that night. She shrugged. "HOA presidents love pretending they're actual government," she said. "Keep things tidy and let her enjoy the power trip." That was the plan. Foxwood Bluff Sand especially, Lana had others. The escalation was instant, Facebook argument speed. First came the violation letters. Non-compliant vehicle. Pickup showing rust submit repair plan. Garage door open to long creates unsightly appearance. Work noises after 7 p.m. We are a family community, not an industrial park. I replied once, politely. "Hi, Lana. My truck is registered and insured." No commercial work is occurring. Garage is used for personal projects. Please direct concerns to the city if you believe there's a code issue. Ryan, that should have ended it, instead. Lana treated it as a declaration of war. She started studying my schedule, walking past my house slowly twice a day. Dog in one hand, phone in the other, pausing at my mailbox to spy into the garage. Photographing my driveway whenever a guest came over like visitors were contraband. I installed cameras not out of paranoia, but because cybersecurity is my field and documenting weird is my default. The footage showed Lana stepping into my yard to get a better angle at my side gate. Lana holding a tape measure to my lawn edging. Lana kneeling to inspect a faint oil spot like it had insulted her ancestors. The letters continued. When I ignored those, the fines began. $50, then $100, then $250 for ongoing noncompliance with aesthetic standards. I forwarded everything to the management company with the plat map attached and a very civil note. Please show me where owning a 15-year-old truck appears in the covenants. The property manager quietly voided the fines. Lana found out and detonated. She cornered me at the mailbox. You cannot hide behind technicalities forever, she hissed. Technicalities like the actual rules? I asked. You're lowering our property values, she snapped. With your projects, sand that cop car in the driveway. Elena's cruiser was sometimes in our drive when she came home for lunch. I stared at her. You mean my wife's city-issued vehicle? Its presence makes people uncomfortable, Lana said. It implies crime. I blinked. It implies law enforcement. That night over tacos, I said, I think Lana's speedrunning the worst possible argument category. Lena shrugged. Let her rule her little clipboard kingdom. She steps into criminal territory. I'll happily take a look. I thought she was joking. Then Lana called 911. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon, just as Alina was finishing a double shift. I was in the garage, torque wrench in hand, music low, neighborhood quiet. Across the street, Lana lurked by the HOA bulletin board phone. Her phone was pressed tight to her ear. I didn't pay it much attention until she pivoted away from me and dropped her voice to a whisper. The security cam audio we later pulled caught plenty. Yes, he has weapons in there. I heard him threaten me. He's running some kind of chop shop. I'm scared. Yes, I'll stay back. 20 minutes later, the entire cul-de-sac lit up with police cruisers. I barely had time to wipe the grease off my hands before someone hammered on my front door like they were trying to break the hinges. One look at their stance hands-ready bodies tightened my adrenaline spiked. I raised my hands where they could see them and opened the door. Sir, step outside, Officer Keller said, tone controlled. We've got multiple calls about illegal firearms and threats made toward a neighbor. Multiple? I echoed. From who? Before he could answer, Lana shouted from her driveway, phone recording. That's him. That's the one. He told me to back off or else. And he's got tons of guns in his garage. I stared at her. I said, please get off my lawn or I'll call the police. Lana gasped, like I'd confessed on live TV. You heard that? He admits it. Keller let out a tiny sigh. Sir, do you have any weapons in the home? Legal ones. Yes, a handgun in a safe, my wife's service weapon when she's off duty, and a couple of hunting rifles locked up. All registered. Nothing illegal. Nothing in the garage. We'll need to verify, Officer Liu added carefully. For everyone's safety, behind them, a second squad car rolled in. Then a third. Someone must have radioed an armed neighbor with full dramatic flair. I opened my mouth to argue when Alina stepped into the hallway. Still in her full Birch Ridge PD uniform hair tied back, badge bright, duty belt heavy on her hips, she walked past me onto the porch. What's going on out here? Keller blinked like his software just crashed. Sergeant Ortiz, we got a call about your address. We didn't know. You got a call, Alina said slowly, or you got a story? Lou cleared his throat. Dispatch said illegal weapons, threats to an HOA president, neighbor fearful for her safety. Caller ID'd herself as Miss Murdoch. Lena's eyes slid to Lana, who suddenly looked like she wanted to sink through the asphalt. Officer Lou, Elena said evenly, you've eaten at my house. You think my husband runs a weapons ring out of our garage while I'm on duty? Honestly, Sarge, I said. No, but calls like that we have to respond. Sure, Alina said. You responded. Now we're documenting. She stepped inside, grabbed her radio, keyed it. Dispatch, this is Sergeant Ortiz. I'm on scene at my residence with units 214, 305, and 287. Possible false felony report. Caller appears to be an HOA representative, requesting a supervisor. I'm also making myself a reporting party. The air changed instantly. Nothing terrifies cops like paperwork and internal affairs. Alina had just summoned both. Lana's smile evaporated. Lieutenant Harper arrived quickly. He stepped out, took in Alina on the porch, the cluster of officers, the watching neighbors, and one HOA president, buzzing with indignation inside, like the universe had personally inconvenienced him. All right, Harper said. Walk me through it, Keller explained carefully. Call from Miss Murdoch. Accusations of illegal firearms, threats, some kind of weapons-related business in the garage. Any evidence? Harper asked. Lou shook his head. No. No raised voices when we arrived. No visible illegal activity. Harper looked to Alina. I live here. I work here, she said. And I've got video of Miss Murdoch trespassing to measure my husband's grass. Emails turning HOA citations into a personal crusade. This, she gestured to the cruisers, is just the newest stunt because she hates seeing a toolbox. Harper turned to Lana. Ma'am, your side? Lana lifted her chin. I am the president of Foxwood Bluffs HOA. I have a duty to report unsafe activity. He told me if I didn't stop harassing him, I'd regret it. He has dangerous equipment. People come and go. It's clearly some kind of operation. What kind of operation? Harper asked. Something with weapons, she stammered. I heard metallic noises. Metallic noises. Harper repeated. Tools, I said. The metallic noises were tools because I was using tools. Lana pointed at me triumphantly. See? He admits he has equipment. Harper's face did a slow, pained reboot. Keller, he said. Weapons scene. No, sir. Just a normal garage and a very irritated homeowner. Threats overheard? None, Sir Lou said. Just Miss Murdoch yelling about property values? Harper nodded once. Okay, here's how this works. He faced Lana. Ma'am, reporting guns you actually saw? That's legitimate. Calling 911 to frame a household as a threat because you're angry about their garage is false reporting. That is a crime. Her voice jumped. Are you calling me a liar? I'm saying you have zero evidence, Harper replied, and for officers whose time you wasted. And you did it at the home of a sergeant who you clearly didn't expect to walk out and recognize my guys. He took out his notebook. Name and ID, please. You can't, Lana sputtered. I'm an HOA officer. I have immunity. Every officer blinked in unison. There is no HOA immunity, Harper said, exhausted. You're a volunteer. You're not law enforcement. You dragged emergency services into your personal feud. He wrote her information slowly. We'll send this to the city attorney. They'll decide whether to prosecute. At minimum, you're getting billed for the response. Billed. Lana shrieked. You can't bill me. Yes, we can, Alina said. Dispatch already has your number flagged, Keller added. 3 prior calls this month. All non-criminal. All unfounded. That's a pattern, Harper said. He turned to me. Mr. Ortiz, want to press trespass charges. I looked at Alina, then Lana, whose face was red enough to signal aircraft. Let's start with documentation, I said. I'll send the video. If she steps on my property again, we'll talk charges, Alina nodded. I'm filing a supplemental complaint for misuse of my department. This is insane, Lana choked. I was protecting the community. Oh, ma'am, Harper said. You lied to win an argument. That's weaponizing law enforcement. He ordered the officers to clear the call. The cruisers pulled out one by one. Neighbors dispersed. Lana stood alone, still recording, with nothing to show for it, except a potential criminal charge and a very thick report with her name stamped across it. If that porch scene was Act 1, the HOA meeting 2 weeks later was the finale. Alina and I weren't planning to go. Why attend a meeting run by someone who tried to get us swatted? But then a flyer hit every mailbox. Emergency HOA meeting topic. Law enforcement incident. And board conduct. An anonymous text from across the street sealed it. You're going to want front row seats. The clubhouse was packed. Folding chairs full, people standing, a low hiss of neighborhood drama filling the space. At the front, Lana sat rigid behind a folding table, gavel in hand, flanked by a board that looked physically ill. "Let's bring the meeting to order," Lana began. "There's been a coordinated smear campaign, ma'am." Someone called. We all saw the police. What happened? Before Lana could spin, the door opened. In walked a man in a suit with a briefcase, the assistant city attorney. "I'm Stephen Cho," he said, stepping forward. "I was asked to provide an overview of recent events involving Miss Murdoch." Silence. Lana went sheet white. "This is unnecessary," she muttered. Stephen opened a folder. On the date in question, Miss Murdoch called 911 and reported illegal weapons, criminal activity, and a direct threat by her neighbor. Police responded with multiple units. They found no evidence of any illegal activity. They did, however, find an HOA president with a documented history of exaggerated or false reports. Head swiveled toward Lana. "The city is not pursuing criminal charges at this time," Stephen continued. "However, Miss Murdoch has received a formal warning. Any future incidents may result in prosecution and civil liability. The police department has also requested the HOA adopt a policy prohibiting emergency services calls for non-criminal covenant issues." So because she freaked out over what a toolbox, we almost got dragged into a lawsuit? "Yes," Stephen said. A woman with a stroller stood up. "My kids were terrified by all those cruisers. And it was just this." She pointed at Lana like she was pointing at a broken toaster. Lana snapped. "He's been defiant since he moved in. He leaves his garage open. He works on vehicles. There are weapons in that house." Alina spoke from the back. "Yes, legally owned, safely stored weapons. Because I'm a police sergeant, and I live here too." Half the room turned. Someone muttered, "Oh." Lana stood. "I don't live here as a cop. I live here as a neighbor. But Lana used my profession as a toy. She lied, implied my home was dangerous, and treated my department like private security. If this board doesn't fix this, my next complaint goes to a civil attorney and I won't be the only signature." Someone clapped, then another. Minutes later, the room was thunderous. A board member steadied himself at the microphone. "I move that we remove Miss Murdoch as HOA president effective immediately." Second, 3 people said. Lana slammed the gavel. "You can't do this. I'm the only thing preventing chaos." Someone snorted. "If chaos means people fixing their trucks, bring it on." They voted. Paper ballots in a plastic bowl. The result wasn't even close. By the time Stephen closed his folder, Lana had been voted out, stripped of her position, and effectively muted by crowd hostility. Stephen stepped forward again. "The cost of the false report has been calculated. For units, 90 minutes.